Well. Welcome to another episode of SKST Radio, Real Talk, and you talking to Cammie Grayson. And I have a new friend. His first name is James, and he'll tell you his last name. James, you're
My name
on.
is James Cullen Bressack. Thank you guys so much for
Bressack. I didn't
having
want to
me.
mess it up.
It's okay. It's okay.
Well, James, welcome to the show. This is like the coolest director ever. I mean, he has a couple of movies under his belt, and they're all good. And so this one is a new one. But first, we want to hear about you, James. Tell us about you and how you got started.
Well, thank you for the kind words, by the way. I got started at a very young age. I was like that kid in like high school and middle school. Like I get like a book report and I turn in a short film about why I didn't want to do my book report. I was basically I always wanted to be a filmmaker. Well, wait, hold on. That's actually not fully true because when I was like 3 years old, for a little while, I wanted to be a professional wrestler, but then I always wanted to be a filmmaker after that. But you know, uh, I made my first movie at 18 years old.
Wow.
When I like straight out of high school, I was like Robert Rodriguez only needed $7,000 for his first movie. That's all I need, and I went out there and made one at 18, and it was terrible. But I've learned a lot from it, and each time I make a movie, I try to grow a little bit more each time.
Wow. So, how many movies do you have exactly?
I've directed 22 feature films.
Wow. That's pretty good. It's pretty
Thank
good.
you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, so this one I think is really, really good. You have a few people that we recognize that's in the movie. And so, how did you come up with the concept?
So the concept was actually a play that my late father wrote. Gordon Bressack. He was the head writer of like Pinky and the Brain and Animaniacs and Tiny Toons and the Smurfs and a bunch of cartoons. Darkwing Duck, Captain Simeon and the Space Monkeys. Just like
Wow.
the list goes on. And uh, you know, he one of the last creative endeavors he did before he passed away was um, make this play. He wrote it and then he directed it and put it on. And so I thought, when he passed away, a really nice way to honor him was to take his words and turn them into a feature film.
Wow.
I self financed it and made this, and it's one of those things that I thought was interesting as well because I asked him when he was making the play, like, Dad, why are you wasting your time and spending your money like making a play? You should make this a movie. And he said, like, well, I made the play. You can make the movie. You're the movie guy. And so like, that's what I ended up doing. And he always told me that, until I was 30 years old, every movie I made would always be known as like my early work. And so like this was the last movie I made before I turned 30. I literally like a week after we wrapped filming, I turned 30.
Wow. Well, congratulations and sorry about your father. Sound like he was an amazing man.
He was a good dude. He was a good dude, and he was funny. He was like a living cartoon character, which hopefully that translates in the movie.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, so you got some interesting characters. How did you go about casting?
you know, the casting process was really interesting because it being a passion project and a tribute to my dad, I really wanted to cast people that either really got the material or like were close to him. So the two writers, who were played by Maurice LaMarche and Charlie Howell. Charlie Howell was my dad's real life writing partner for 30 years. He knew my dad longer than I did.
Oh, wow.
Maurice LaMarche was the brain from Pinky and the Brain, so he knew my dad. I mean, he knew me since I was like when I was born. So
Oh, wow.
literally, it was cool to put them in those roles. And then Carla Collins, who plays Marie, she played that role in the play. So I cast her from the play. And then all of the other roles were just filled out with like actors that I thought would be good, that I had contact to, that I just thought really understood it. And it's, like Spencer Breslin, him and I were friends. It's like, Kristos Andrews and I had done a couple movies together already. And it was just putting in people that I knew would get the material and honor the material and were friends of mine.
Very cool. Very cool. So, at the end of the day, it was kind of funny. It's like you think it's gonna be scary, but then it ends up being funny. And so it's one of those, like, you don't know whether to laugh or to jump. So I think you did good. You did real good. Your
Oh,
dad
thank
did
you.
real
Yeah,
good.
it's definitely a very silly movie. I mean, there's people coming out in full blown chicken costumes, so
Yeah.
it's it's definitely ridiculous. And I think it's a testament to the creative process and how we try to put things together. And the art versus commerce, and
Hmm.
what we do we sell out to tell the story that the masses want, or do we want to make something that is personal to us? And so, like, deep down in that comedy and in that scariness is all that message. And I thought it was really an interesting project to hit as well, because at that time of my life when I was filming it, I had just lost my dad, and I was wondering in myself, like, did I enjoy doing these movies? I had done, like, two Bruce Willis movies, and like a Mel Gibson movie, and those were fun movies.
Right.
But those were definitely like movies that were made not necessarily for the art of filmmaking, but more like they were commercial films. And
Hmm.
so it was interesting to make something that, like, I don't know how, like you said, you didn't know how to describe the genre. Murder Anyone is really like this genre bending movie that doesn't really, it isn't the commercial movie. So it was very interesting to be able to make something that was not commercial. And since I was using my own money, I didn't really care if it made money. So I made the movie for an audience of one, and sadly, that person will never see it. But I made it the way that I thought he would enjoy it the best.
Oh yeah. Well, I think he's looking down and he's seen the movie and he's so proud of you. I mean, there's nothing but, you know, laughter and fun, when I see this movie. And the crazy thing is, I'm a Rocky Horror Picture fan,
Oh,
right?
thank you. I love Rocky Horror.
And so, I think of this when I look at this movie. I think of it being a cult movie that only special people can really appreciate it, right? Somebody, I'm a big Spencer fan too. So seeing him in this, I mean, I was like, oh my God, that's Spencer. So,
Yeah.
it's amazing that you guys were able to pull this off and make it funny. And at the beginning scene with the old guys, I think it's just everything was just wonderful. So I'm really proud of you, like I said before, and I think this movie is going to do good. I think it's going to do really well.
From your mouth to God's ears. I mean, I appreciate that. I hope people do enjoy it and take some time if they want to have a silly, ridiculous night. It's definitely that.
Absolutely. So tell people how they can see the movie.
The movie is available like wherever you rent a movie digitally. So, like, if you rent it from Amazon, you can rent it at Amazon. If you rent from like Vudu, you rent it there. If you rent on Comcast or DirecTV, you could rent it there. Like, wherever you normally, like iTunes, wherever you normally go to like rent a movie, that is where it is.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, I want to thank you for being on the show. I want to thank you for sharing your insights on the movie. And well, have you done the festivals and things?
Yes, we did. We won 52 awards on the festival circuit.
See,
So
see,
I have a bunch of trophies at my house now, which is pretty cool. And that's been awesome. And the cast and crew also got some trophies, so it's been really great.
I didn't even know that and knew it. See?
Thank you so much.
Very proud of you. Very proud of you. Well, again, thank you, James, for being on the show. I want to have you back when you have your next project. I
Yes,
always
thank
will
you
love
so
you
much.
guys, and just keep going, keep making it happen for us.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so kind. And I would love to come back as well. I'll be promoting my new movie towards the end of the year. It's called Darkness of Man, and it stars Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Spencer's also in it. And it's an action movie, but it's also got a lot of heart, and it's a noir, like noir through and through. So it's really something fun
Oh
and dark,
wow.
and I'm excited for people to see this one.
All right. Well, I want those interviews right here. SKST Radio.
Yeah, sounds great.
Woo! Thank you, James.
Thank you
Until
so
next week,
much.
guys. Have a good one. Real
Take care.
talk.
Bye.